Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. I never expected my day to take such a turn. It was supposed to be a regular evening at the office. Late, but nothing unusual. Deadlines were piling up, and I had stayed behind to finalize a report that was due first thing in the morning. Most of my coworkers had already left, their laughter echoing down the halls as they hurried off to enjoy their nights. By the time I packed up my things and grabbed my coat, the building was eerily quiet. The hum of fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead, and my heels clicked against the polished marble floors as I made my way to the elevator. I pressed the down button and waited. The golden glow of the numbers flickered as the elevator ascended from the ground floor. When the doors slid open, I stepped inside, only to freeze for a brief second. Standing there, leaning casually against the mirrored wall, was him. Nathan Carter, my boss. Nathan was a man who carried authority in every step, every glance. At 52, he had that quiet, confident charm that made people listen when he spoke. Tall, broad-shouldered, with silver threading through his dark hair, he was effortlessly composed. There was a weight to his presence, something that commanded respect. "Late night?" he asked, his voice deep, edged with exhaustion. I nodded, offering a small, polite smile. Finishing up the quarterly report. "Dedicated as always," he mused, his lips curving into the faintest smirk. The doors slid shut, and the elevator began its descent. I exhaled, shifting the strap of my purse higher on my shoulder, ready to leave the office behind for the night. But just as we passed the 10th floor, a sudden jolt rocked the elevator. The lights flickered, the floor beneath us trembled, and then silence. The elevator came to a dead stop. I reached instinctively for the handrail, my heart hammering. Nathan straightened, his expression unreadable. A few beats passed before I forced a chuckle, though my voice wavered. This isn't ideal. Nathan stepped forward, pressing the emergency button. A sharp beep followed, but no voice came through. He tried again. Nothing. "Looks like we're stuck," he murmured. I swallowed. "Just our luck, huh?" He turned toward me, tilting his head slightly, as if assessing the situation. "You all right?" I nodded, but the truth was, I could already feel the unease creeping up my spine. The confined space, the lack of control. Didn't do well with either. Nathan must have noticed something in my expression because his voice softened. "We'll get out of here. Probably just a minor glitch." I leaned against the opposite wall, trying to focus on my breathing. "Ever been stuck in an elevator before?" He let out a quiet chuckle. "Once. Years ago. But I wasn't exactly in good company." I arched an eyebrow. "Worse than being stuck with your employee?" His smirk deepened. "Depends on the employee." I laughed despite myself, some of the tension easing from my chest. Nathan had that way about him. Sharp but not unkind, direct but not unfeeling. Minutes passed. 10, then 20. The temperature in the elevator rose slightly, the still air becoming heavier. My blouse clung a little to my skin, and I shifted, rolling my shoulders. Nathan had taken off his suit jacket and loosened his tie, leaning one shoulder against the wall, watching me with an unreadable expression. "You sure you're all right?" I hesitated, then exhaled. Not a fan of small spaces. His eyes flickered with something. Understanding, maybe. He ran a hand through his hair, his usual composed demeanor relaxing slightly. "Tell me something," he said, his voice lower now, calmer. "Something that'll keep your mind off it." I blinked. "Like what?" "Anything. A story. A secret. Something I wouldn't expect. I bit my lip, considering. "All right," I said, tilting my head. "But only if you do the same." Nathan's eyes met mine, amusement sparking there. "Deal." I took a deep breath. "Okay. You know how everyone thinks I'm this picture-perfect corporate woman, always on time, never breaking rules?" He gave a small nod. "Well," I grinned. "I once spent an entire weekend in Vegas and woke up with a tattoo I don't even remember getting." Nathan let out a surprised laugh. "You really?" I shrugged. "It's on my ankle. A tiny little star. But yeah, definitely wasn't planned." His smile lingered. "I did not expect that. Your turn." Nathan rubbed his jaw, his gaze drifting momentarily to the ceiling, as if debating what to share. Then, with a quiet sigh, he said, "All right, since we're sharing. I almost didn't take this job." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "I was offered something else. A quieter life. Teaching. A small university by the coast." I stared at him, surprised. "Why didn't you take it?" His eyes met mine, and for a moment, there was something in them, something I couldn't quite name. Sometimes you choose the path that keeps you moving forward, even if you're not sure where it leads. I felt my breath hitch, something about his words settling deep within me. The silence stretched between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable anymore. There was something unspoken in the air, an awareness, a shift. A slow realization crept over me then, something I hadn't acknowledged before. Nathan Carter had always been my boss, my superior. But in that moment, in the quiet hum of the stalled elevator, he was just a man. And I was just a woman, standing a little too close. The air between us thickened. My pulse quickened. And for the first time, I wondered, what would happen if we weren't just boss and employee anymore? A soft hum filled the air, the low, almost imperceptible sound of the elevator's emergency lights buzzing overhead. Time had begun to blur. 10 minutes? 30? An hour? The longer we stood there, the more aware I became of every detail. The warmth of the confined space, the steady rhythm of Nathan's breathing, the way his gaze flickered to me now and then, unreadable, measured. I shifted slightly, adjusting the strap of my purse on my shoulder. Think they've even noticed we're missing. Nathan exhaled, a quiet chuckle under his breath. Doubt it. I don't exactly check in with people when I leave. Neither do I admitted, crossing my arms. Guess we're just two ghosts in the machine. He tilted his head slightly, considering me. That doesn't surprise me about you. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, and why's that? You work late. You don't chat much in meetings unless you have something necessary to say. You keep things professional. Always. There was something in the way he said that last word, always, that made my stomach tighten unexpectedly. I forced a small laugh. Well, professionalism is kind of a requirement, considering you're my boss. Nathan leaned back against the wall, his hands in his pockets. You say that like I'm some kind of drill sergeant. I smirked. Aren't you? His lips curved slightly, but he didn't answer right away. Instead, his gaze lingered on me, something thoughtful behind those sharp eyes of his. Is that how you see me? As nothing but your boss? The question caught me off guard. My heartbeat stumbled. I swallowed. Isn't that how I'm supposed to see you? Nathan didn't look away. He didn't move, didn't shift, didn't blink, but something changed in the air between us. Something subtle, heavy. The walls of the elevator seemed smaller now, the distance between us almost non-existent. I was hyper-aware of everything. His height, the way his shirt clung slightly to his frame, the slight hint of cologne that lingered in the warm air. I turned my head, forcing myself to look at the dull glow of the emergency panel instead. "Maybe we should try the intercom again," I murmured. Nathan didn't argue. He pressed the button, waited for a response. Nothing. He exhaled through his nose. "Looks like we're at their mercy." "Fantastic," I muttered, running a hand through my hair. I could feel the heat creeping along my skin, not just from the rising temperature, but from other things. Things I refused to acknowledge. A soft, rustling sound made me glance back at him. He had taken off his tie completely now, unbuttoning the top of his shirt. My breath hitched. I shouldn't be noticing this. I shouldn't be looking. And yet I was. Nathan caught my gaze, and for the briefest moment there was something almost challenging in his expression, like he knew exactly what I was thinking. I cleared my throat and looked away. "So," I said, trying to ground myself, "since we're playing this whole get-to-know-each-other game, tell me something else. Something I wouldn't expect." He considered this, his fingers absently rolling his tie between them. Then finally he said, "I'd thought about leaving the company." I blinked, surprised. "Seriously?" He nodded. "More than once." "Why?" He hesitated for a moment, then exhaled. "It's lonely sometimes, running things. Everyone expects you to have all the answers, to make the right decisions. But no one really sees you." Something about that struck a nerve in me. "I get that," I said quietly. "You can be surrounded by people all day and still feel completely alone." Nathan's eyes met mine, and in that moment I knew we were thinking the same thing. The silence between us stretched, thick and charged. My fingers curled around the strap of my purse, my skin buzzing with awareness. This wasn't just a casual conversation anymore. This was something else. Something deeper. Something I wasn't sure I was ready to face. I looked away again, willing my pulse to slow. "Well," I said, forcing a lightness into my tone, "for what it's worth, I don't think you're as unreadable as you think." Nathan huffed a quiet laugh. "Oh?" I nodded. "You pretend you don't care what people think, but you do. You pretend to be this untouchable force, but deep down you actually give a damn." He watched me for a long moment, his gaze unreadable. Then he stepped forward, just a fraction, just enough that I could feel the warmth of him in the air between us. "And what about you?" he asked. I swallowed. "What about me? You always keep your guard up, don't you?" His voice was softer now, lower. "Even now." My breath caught. "Maybe," I admitted. His gaze flickered to my lips. And suddenly, I wasn't thinking about the elevator anymore. I wasn't thinking about the fact that he was my boss, or that this was entirely inappropriate. All I could think about was how dangerously close we were. How easy it would be to lean in. How easy it would be to cross a line I wasn't sure I could uncross. And the terrifying part? I wasn't sure I wanted to stop myself. The air in the elevator felt heavier, thicker, charged with something unspoken but undeniable. Nathan was close, too close. And yet, I didn't move away. I should have. I should have taken a step back, created space, drawn the line that I knew shouldn't be crossed. But instead, I stayed rooted in place, my breath shallow, my pulse hammering in my ears. Nathan's eyes searched mine, and for the first time since I'd started working for him, I saw something raw beneath the usual composed exterior. Something hesitant, something uncertain. Do you want me to back up? His voice was quiet, careful. I parted my lips, but no words came. Did I want to create distance? Or did I want to see what would happen if I didn't? The truth sat on my tongue, hot and unsteady. I don't know, I admitted. Nathan exhaled through his nose, his lips twitching like he almost smiled. Honest answer. I swallowed, trying to ignore the way my stomach twisted at the way he looked at me. It's the only kind I have right now. He nodded, as if understanding exactly what I meant. His gaze didn't waver, didn't shift from mine, and that alone sent another ripple of heat through me. I could feel the warmth of his body, the faint scent of cologne mixing with something uniquely him, clean, sharp, masculine. A dangerous combination. I should have looked away, but I didn't. Nathan's fingers flexed at his sides, like he was restraining himself from something. From what? I wasn't sure. Maybe I didn't want to know. Or maybe I did. The realization hit me like a punch to the stomach. I wanted to know. I wanted to know what it would feel like if he let go of whatever was holding him back. And maybe, just maybe, I wanted to let go too. I sucked in a breath. Nathan. The sudden clang of the elevator shaft jolted me back to reality. I gasped, gripping the railing as the overhead lights flickered. For a second, I thought we were dropping, but the elevator stayed put. The only thing that moved was the tight coil in my stomach, twisting into something else. Nathan let out a slow breath. Looks like they're trying to fix it. I nodded, my face suddenly hot, my skin prickling as if I'd just woken from a dream I wasn't ready to leave. I forced a chuckle. Well, that was. Lucky timing, he finished, the ghost of a smirk playing at his lips. I met his eyes again, and for a brief moment, I saw it there. The acknowledgement of whatever had just passed between us. The thing we weren't saying. It hung there for a heartbeat. Then two. Then Nathan took a small step back, running a hand through his hair. Guess we should get ready to move again. I nodded, willing my pulse to slow. Right. Yeah. Good idea. But the second he put space between us, I felt an ache in my chest I hadn't expected. A part of me wished the elevator had stayed stuck just a little longer. The elevator jolted suddenly, a mechanical groan echoing around us. I gripped the railing instinctively, my heart jumping into my throat. Nathan did the same, his fingers tightening as we both braced for movement. And then, finally, the elevator started moving. It was a slow, steady climb. The kind that should have brought relief, but instead, a strange disappointment settled in my chest. This was it. Our moment, whatever it had been, was coming to an end. Nathan let out a slow breath. Looks like we're finally getting out of here.